Now we're live.
Now we're live.
Now we're live.
Unbelievable.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the boardroom. I have today Miss Stephanie Allen, CEO of Airworks, and my lovely friend and co-founder of Just Start AI.
Hey.
Good to have you. And Michael Parker, Director of Design Engineering at CI Web Group. Seth Humble, Director of Performance at CI Web Group. And our regularly scheduled guests.
I like your performance there, Seth. Way to
Thank you. I'm doing everything I can. Everything I can.
Oh my goodness. So our regularly scheduled guest, I got a text message that said neither one of them could attend. And I was like, that doesn't matter. I've got heavy hitters I can pull on call in 2.2 seconds. And I didn't even have time to look at the agenda.
Here we go.
So we're gonna make it up. But I also heard that Parker prepared.
But that's what this boardroom is about. This boardroom is about having real life conversations and us figuring it out together live and bringing you, audience, into that conversation. So you can kind of get to see behind the scenes, the stuff that we're dealing with and strategizing through in real time.
Yeah, this is like attending an office meeting that we have on a Friday night by a fireplace, 2 cocktails in, and we start wondering our life choices.
Nobody served me a cocktail this morning, Jeff.
I mean, I can ship one. I learned from you. I can have one shipped to your house in a crate very quick. You've done it to me.
All right.
All right, you guys. So I'm just going to start with this. Like right now we're in a crazy space. And I'm curious to get all of your vantage points on just the rate of change. We are not, and all jokes aside, we are not shy of things that we need to talk about. So I don't need to be prepared because we're prepared every single day for having very difficult conversations, discussing and debating and duking it out sometimes on the direction, how we're going to go, how we're going to adjust. There's no such thing, at least in our world, as an SOP in today's world, because we can literally spend $600,000 building something, ship it, and the day we ship it, the technology changes and we have to rethink it and build it. That's where we're living right now, which is a total crazy shit show half the time. And we are currently building in flight on ground that feels like quicksand in the middle of an earthquake. And sometimes I feel like with somebody, taking an automatic rifle and just taking headshots as we're going. That sounds horrible, but Call of Duty version. That technically is what it feels like right now. Like it is, you're dodging at bullets as they're flying. This feels like a video game. Because everything is moving so fast. So you have to have a little bit of crazy in you to love the chaos and to love the evolution and to be totally cool. I think, Parker, you were on your team. You were on a meeting with your team the other day and you're like, don't get attached to the tool. Don't get attached to the process. Don't get attached to the technology. Don't get attached to the system because I might change it tomorrow.
Yep.
So I want to talk just about that for a minute and get each of your perspectives on what that change looked like, because you're all looking at it from a different vantage point. Parker, I'll start with you, and then Seth will move to you, and Steph to you.
Yeah, well, as you know, like I actually tell my team this every day. So with the whole going into being AI forward, whether you're doing websites, whatever you're doing, there's so many tools and there's so many, avenues for you. There's ways to solve problems with AI for just about anybody. What we're learning is it's changing every day. And what might be the top LLM or the top tool today most likely will not be the top one next week. And that's what I'm noticing. So I've been bouncing back for what we do in terms of designing and building websites in the moment between Claude Code, between Cursor, between Codex. And I'm trying to get my team in that same mentality. We got to be agile. We got to be flexible. And we need to be hungry to learn, right? So we don't want to be in a space where a tool might change and we don't understand how to jump ship from what we're currently doing and into the new tool and then have all these delays, all these things that go wrong because we didn't prepare, right? So I'm trying to get my team to understand, like looking at the broader picture and looking forward instead of getting stuck in the now. And if you're able to do that, you'll be pretty good.
And then for you to be able, I mean, you guys have implemented, well, you know what, let me come back to that. So, but I do want to discuss, like, you've also built really intelligent systemic processes, intentional or not, to be able to jump ship quickly, like guidelines, SOL, MD files, rules, guardrails, like those systems, understanding how those systems translate from application to application. You can still define business logic, business processes, knowledge base, data lake, and so forth. And if it's contained in the right environment, you have the ability to jump ship quickly, take all of those things with you, and start off not fresh. I think when I hear a lot of contractors like having the debate of, do I leave my ChatGPT because it knows me? Like, and I think that's just not understanding what knows me equals and how to build those guardrails and make them transferable so that you can move from application to application. So that's good. We'll dive into that. Seth, from your vantage point, what do you see? I know you're looking at the SERPs and.
How to put it? So across the whole span of human civilization, we have two primary adaptability, or two primary survival instincts that have made us the preeminent predator on the planet outside of the ocean, because that's where sharks live, and I don't screw around with sharks. But it's stamina and it's adaptability. Those two things make the human creature like the single greatest tool creating civilization that's probably ever going to exist. I don't know where we'll be in 10,000 years. Maybe the insects will take over. I don't know. I don't have a crystal balls.
You don't think strategy or intelligence or anything is involved in there, Seth? It's just stamina and adaptability?
I think the ability to adapt is the great progenitor of strategy. I think adaptation.
Deep, all right.
Do what?
I said, that's deep. All right. I'm here for it.
Well, adaptability is like, and so, you know, what the hell does that mean in terms of SEO? Over the course, like I've been in SEO for 15 years, and never over the course of those 15 years has what the SERP requirement is or what Google's expectations are. They've never been more complex, and they've never changed at a greater rate. That is a persistent, there's a persistent cadence now, where it used to be we'd get 2 big Google algorithm updates per year, about 7 to 10 years ago. That's what it used to be. Get ready for the February update and get ready for the August update, because everything's going to change. Now we're getting core algorithm updates. Over the last 7 months, we've had 4 of them. And those are just when they tell us about the things that they're changing. So what the hell does that mean? Why is adaptability important? Your ability the rate of change at which you are able to adapt to new circumstances in the SERP by understanding not only Google specifications, but what can also be best for LLMs and things like that. Your ability to adapt to those things is what's going to allow you to remain afloat, right? And it's not always going to be, Niebuhr calls it the buoyancy of hope, right? That idea, that persistence of the ability to say, like, I know that right now Google is saying, I'm going to prioritize those websites that have the highest trustability. I want to know who is the most trustworthy source of information, and I want to know where you rank in terms of those things. That is why referring domains and domain authority, which is, of course, supposedly not a real ranking factor, but you're referring domains, you're backlinking, all of those things. Google's saying, if you want to stay indexed, you better be respected amongst your peers.
Signals.
That is right. Yeah. Those trust signals, those things come from things like Reddit, your social media, your GBP reviews, your GBP posts, and the trustworthiness of the content on your website and the ability to cite it as a trustworthy source. Those right now, Google is saying those are super important. And that adaptation, the challenge that we need to adapt to, happened in March. And that changed from a position of, what are your keyword phrases? What are you saying? How much content are you producing? How much do you have to say about those topics? Right? So who is it that said it? I mean, it's probably the writer of Moneyball, which is one of my favorite movies and books, which is adapt or die. It's that simple.
That's legit. That's legit. And it's not only algorithmic changes, but it's the core layout of Google is evolving And
Correct.
Sundar has already stated that it will likely not look the same as it does today. And you're seeing it happen in real life. Like, you're watching it. There are search queries you can run where you're scrolling 3 major scrolls before you ever see a blue link anything, traditional SEO.
Correct.
And I just pulled one yesterday that you're looking at 80% of the entire first initial 3 scrolls is all LLM. It's all AI overviews. It's just content and answers and answers and answers and answers and answers. There was 2 listings in the map, and there were only 4 organic links on the page, not 10.
Mm-hmm.
So when he says things like, it will likely change, the SERPs will likely change to just be a series of AI agents that have the ability to perform tasks and provide you with answers. Like, this isn't in the future. They're already rolling this out. They're testing this. And if, depending on how much you search, you can start to see that. So the layout is changing. On top of that, Google's technology is changing. Why would Google go through the same process that it had previously, utilizing bots, scripts, cron jobs with people, human oversight that are pocketed all over the United States to make these evaluations, when now Google is literally building and launching autonomous agents that have the ability to do this? So previously, it would be one of those major algorithm changes took place, and you may see the cadence of the impact of that like a tsunami, where it comes in slow waves and it happens over a long period of time. It doesn't come in crashing all at the same time, which now it has the ability to do. Right now, they have the ability to roll a change out like that, launch autonomous agents, be able to evaluate every single website instantaneously, and be able to make enormous shifts, huge swooping shifts in how every one of these websites is ranking and positioned. And it's happening significantly faster. Steph, from your vantage point, what do you see? I know that's a big oh shit moment, but you have also
like
consumer adoption.
Honestly, when you start talking and you guys get into all your geekiness, it's like wah, 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 like I can't even understand all of it, but I appreciate you so much. And here's where I am and where like we tie together. I am learning more and more the importance of being light and agile, the importance of these systems. And so when you're talking about systems, for me, like, I need my business systems dialed in. I need my culture dialed in. I need them ready to pivot with me as quickly as I'm moving. Right now, I feel like I'm dragging some bodies, and that slows me down. I don't want to drag anybody. I want them running with me or running ahead of me. I would like to be keeping up. I think that we have learned a lot over the last year, and I've decided that true sophistication is simplicity. And that's kind of wonky in your brain, right? Like, how can we organize it and categorize, systemize so well that it's actually simple and it will make it light for us to move? I think that comes with having a team like you guys of absolute freaking brilliant experts doing your thing, that I don't have to do it. And so I believe right now that AI is showing us that deep genius is important, that we need to link arms to go fast together. I think that us SMBs of the world, small, medium-sized business, we have massive opportunity ahead of us, that the playing field has been wiped clean. And we get to decide how fast are we moving, who are we partnering with, what are we doing. I know what got me here won't get me there. I'm hoping more contractors and other small business owners pick up on that very quickly and move. I've also learned that just because I can doesn't mean I should. So Dave created a beautiful MCP for us to get into ServiceTitan. I spent a lot of hours figuring out how to unpack that and what to do with it. I don't know what the heck to do with it from now. Like, that's why you guys are the experts. And when we link arms together, you help us figure out what to do with that information, right? We have the resources that we can do anything. But if you get lost in that and you dilute your genius, you're not going to go anywhere.
Right. I think you're to piggyback on that. So Plato in the Republic, he says that the genius. Plato in the Republic, he says the genius of a thing is found not in its complexity, but in its simplicity. Real genius finds a simple thing to be able to solve a complex problem. And it helps us to identify that all a complex problem is a multitude of simplicities, right? Which is why it's so
I read that in my poli-sci class.
I'm sure you did too.
Circa early 2000s somewhere, but like the ability to pull that is freaking brilliant, Seth.
He has it memorized to the T.
This guy is a walking library.
Who knew? I was one of the great philosophers of life.
Truly you are. Right. You are next Aristotle.
Right.
But I couldn't agree with you more. And one of the things that is very important is we always want to feel, to sort of go back to that idea of the metaphor of like human beings have always been running together, right? We are by our nature. We want to be chasing the same thing. That's what helps identify. It's one of the key identifiers and anthropologically like tribe. Like we are all trying to achieve the same goal of being able to succeed. Right. So when you say something like, I want to feel like we're all running together, like I identify with that on a very deep level, because I always want to feel like we are hand in hand chasing this thing rather than, hey, Bobby, come on, we're all trying to get the deer, brother. Like, don't complain. Like, let's go kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I agree with that. I agree with that as well. I mean, just piggybacking with you, like even in design, right? It's always been like Dieter Rams said too, like less but better. Like in focusing on the essentials, I think that's where we're at with AI as well. You could do so many different things for your business, for whatever. Like there's so many lanes you can go. But what's better? What's essential? What can you do the bare minimum of, but optimize the most with? And I think that's where you need to put your focus as a contractor.
Parker, rapid fire. This is going to be a test. Okay. I want you to, as fast as you possibly can, go back 3 years through the different systems and tools and evolution that you've had to, I don't want to say drag, but evolve our design team. As fast as you can, go through the layers, take a 3-year stint and go, we started here. So maybe should I give you Photoshop to start with?
I got it.
Photoshop. Okay, ready? Go.
Yeah, when I got here, they were on WordPress doing Photoshop to build the designs to hand off those as specs to the developers, which blew my mind. So obviously, as an experienced design professional and running teams before, I've been there and optimized the workflows and the processes. We gutted everything down and had to teach them Figma, had to teach them Webflow at the time, basic user interface design principles that weren't known because it might as well have been like, my cousin designing in Photoshop my website, which looks cool, but right, there's no structure or hierarchy or like consistency when it comes to components and layouts, right? So not just the tools we had to overhaul, but it was really almost the person, right? We had to rethink like, what is this role? What does this person look like for success for the future of our business? And that was just point one. Point two was evolving again further from Webflow into this AI landscape that we are in right now. And we've been really, really going hard. Even before you could really generate any type of AI websites, we were testing out very, very early on tools that weren't good and saw the vision early. So we were being agile, testing these tools far, far in advance before, the big wave came in, and it was thought that, this is a viable option to actually do websites. So kind of rapid fire. We started off in like 1999, and now we're in 2026 in 3 years.
There's probably 60 tools that came inside of there, just testing and testing and testing and testing. You know what that could do to a team.
You know what that could do to people on the outside that have no idea what you're talking about, and you guys start throwing all these random words around and we're trying to keep up?
Well, if you're sitting on the call and you're still in a WordPress website using Elementor to drag and drop your website together with 55 plugins,
you're You're wasting
I will
money.
tell you, I've been around long enough that I've picked up some of these things. So I was on a call with a woman yesterday, and she's like, tell me about your strategy. And I said, look, LLMs and AI likes things to be efficient. They want to go fast. And so I was able to walk her through the process of WordPress to Webflow to Hydra and how important it is. And we've learned, right? Even yesterday on a call, or Monday, Jen was talking about the fact that now you can put like terms together. And before we had to separate that out, but it's getting smarter.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, that's also a good point, is the way things were aren't the way things are going to be. And I think that's going to continually change. Like, we knew things were best practices, this way. And now we're finding out that today that's not okay. That's not going to work. It's not going to fly. And I think that's where adaptability, like you're saying, Seth, comes so far to be almost the most important thing. If you can't adapt to that and you're so stuck on the way things have to be because that's what you've learned, you're going to have a really hard time getting over that wall and really seeing like what you can do. Like, it becomes a huge blocker for you when it comes to AI and just building agentic workflows and adapting to the future.
But if you have some simple principles, so Jen gave us a list. I only got 3 out of the 5 down because I figure she'll get me later. But at the bottom, I have in caps, trust. And so what Jennifer was saying is, ultimately your consumers are looking for trust. How are we going to build that trust with them? That's a simple concept, right? And so if I think in simple, then you guys can get all sophisticated on figuring out the strategy to get there. My strategy is, how do I present myself and my company to make sure that my consumers trust me?
I would say, I love that. I would add one layer to that, is what can you do in your business that's so over the top that it makes them talk about you? So over the top. Like, we want that, like, what's going to make them tell a story somewhere else because it was so unique, the experience they went through, right? This is
I think that changes. So that will adapt. Right now, I think that the unique story in our world is the human touch.
Well, while you're there, that's what I mean, is we need that. We need whatever you do in the home to be so radical that it forces them to go online and tell an amazing story about an experience they had that's nothing like anything else. That is a trust signal that will help improve the valuation of every dollar and every piece of hard work these guys put into everything that they're doing. We need those stories because those are the signals. Those are the signals.
You're getting into strategy on capitalizing on that trust word.
I want your dollar to be worth more. I want our energy to be worth more. I want to leverage our energy. And this is where both parties have to come to the table with more than an appetite. Well, and if we do that, then you're going to see amazing, amazing, amazing things.
And that's why it's important to have people with different geniuses all at that table. I blew my technician's mind yesterday when all of a sudden they're talking about putting their quotes into ChatGPT, and I popped up and I asked them, what is AI? Right? It is sourced on the internet, which is average. Are you guys average? Are your quotes average? How are you going to go about having that conversation? And so I'm able to bring that to them because of the network that I've been around and what I'm hearing. And now I'm able to have that conversation in that space where we need to bring everybody along with us.
Yeah, absolutely. So not to drag down the mood, but I'm going to switch gears for just a minute.
You're real good at that.
Sorry. So while we're talking about all these great things, and we'll to go back to assess adaptability, there are these moments where the wrench gets thrown straight in your wheel, and it's the speed in which you're capable of adapting. I'll give you a big one right now. I'm sitting at a live event. I get a phone call from one of our major manufacturers, major distributors, national distributor. And I get on the call with their legal department and they're like, hey, Jen, we need your help. We have 50 customers that have been, that are in receipt of lawsuits for ADA compliance requirements. And I need to know, does Hydra solve that? And I was like, 50 in what period of time? And she said, in the last 7 days. this is live. Steph, you and I are together at the event, and you saw me kind of just get quiet, sit in a room. I had to sit by myself for a minute, and I had to think through it. Immediately afterwards, I see a major private equity group get slammed with a 7-figure lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
This is 5 meetings directly afterwards. My brother got hit with the lawsuit, and I'm going, okay, pause for a minute. Like, we know ADA is important. We know that this has been a requirement. We built Hydra on the current or present ADA requirements that existed. And it took a minute to really understand what had changed, like what is causing all of the overwhelming impact. And it like a minute to go, well, of course, the freaking attorneys now have AI agents that have the ability, just like Google, to be able to crawl thousands of websites and target those websites, evaluate every line of code, every page, every chunk of information. And now they have the ability to identify the report of all those errors. Those errors they're issuing lawsuits. This is like $1,000 to $3,000 per violation. And they can issue these lawsuits without a paralegal or a human being involved.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, what does it cause? I mean, this is pulling me out of an event, sitting down with our entire team going, all right, well, 1, we need to review all of the regulations and lawsuits. 2, we need to understand what the extensions are for when these lawsuits are going to take place. We need to reprioritize everything. That caused me to go down an entire rabbit hole with our legal team and go, what else has changed? And to start looking on a national basis, the laws and requirements that are related to use of AI. If you have a call center that's using AI, if you have a texting system using AI, A2P requirements, PCI requirements. Now I'm in a total shit show because now I have freaking my Claude and my law firm that is literally showcasing 3,000 different major legal things that need to be adjusted. And I just go have our agents go crawl through all of our clients, go look at all of our clients' terms and conditions, privacy policy, accessibility statements. Then we had to build an ADA compliance evaluating set of agents to audit our own stuff. And I was like, well, do our site first. I'm just curious. And it came back with 1,154 violations times $1,000 to $5,000 a pop. So meanwhile, there
you know what
are
doesn't move fast?
The
legal system.
Well,
and so you can sue quickly, but you can't actually litigate quickly. And so, like, we've been hit with a collections thing, and the next conference or the next time that we could get in front of anybody was 2027, June of 2027, right?
Wow.
And so I think there's something to like the chaos that it's causing, and also sitting back and saying, okay, well, how is this actually going to play out? And what you're seeing is they had to delay because of the chaos that was creating. And like, if you look at your legal system, if you settle real quickly on this stuff, you're going to lose. But the laws will evolve and we'll get there. And so I don't think it's as chaotic as everyone felt it was in the beginning.
I think what it is it's
scary. It's a pain in the ass.
Yes. And it can be expensive and and it's a distraction. So I think this is the matrix of, right, if you built 4 boxes and you have what is important but not urgent, I think we need to live in that box, right? You have what is urgent and important, which means we ignored the things or we made excuses for the things that we're not going to address. We have what is urgent but not important. That's other people's problems that shouldn't be diverting us from our mission. And then we have what's not important and what's not urgent, and we should be deleting that. That's half of how people are spending their time, scrolling through a bunch of bullshit videos that are not educational, informational. It's just cats and babies and whatever else and whatever you dig.
Joy is important too, Jennifer Bagley. Joy is important.
Yes. But I do think that all of us have to live in this, what is not urgent yet, but it is important, and we need to address those things, right? And if we do, it gives us predictability. It gives us the ability to manage our destiny a little bit. And you'll find that in the way that we operate as a company. As a business, 3 years ago, we were talking about that. We've been through this before. There was a moment in time when robots.txt was new. We knew that this would translate to LLMs.txt. And 3 years ago, we started implementing LLMs and LLMs full.txt on every single website. Even when I'm getting hammered from other marketing companies, calling me an idiot on stage, behind the scenes, on meetings, and so forth. But we did what we believe, predictability, that this will likely become part of the ecosystem. Let's get it done now. Right now, I know that they're going to resolve the ability to be able to process these in the future. Predictability is we're going to sit down and we're going to figure out, one, how do we get, if autonomous agents can issue the lawsuits, we can get autonomous agents to be able to make the changes on the websites, right? So part of this is, I think, living in this space that is what is important, but it is not urgent yet. And if you can, if you can make it your MO and your company culture to say, I know it's not critical yet, right? Are LLMs doing everything yet? Is Google entirely or the blue links gone? No. Do I think it's important to plan for it before it becomes urgent?
But that means you had to quiet down the quadrant that has urgent and important.
Urgent and I want to avoid. I don't want any shit to go in that. And the only way it's in there, in important and urgent, is if we do not manage what is important, but what's not urgent, right? That's where divorce comes. That's where legal lawsuits come. That's where bullshit comes. That's where businesses close. That's where cash flow problems come. If we don't live in this engine, but if we are sitting in it's not important and it's not urgent, but I'm applying pressure to that. I'm giving minutes of my time to things that are not important and not urgent. And I haven't been able to properly articulate, identify, and quadrant the things that are they are important, they are urgent, but not important, right? We have to be able to identify, and we've got to be able to do it on the fly. As things are coming to us, we have to have those 4 quadrants and be able to go, which one does it fit in? File that shit over there and either apply energy to it, apply money to it. You got time or money, pick 1 or 2, right? And which one am I going to do? The faster we can assess information and put it into the right quadrant, and then apply appropriate resources to only those things that are important but not urgent. Like, if we live in that space, that's where predictability comes from. That's where stability comes from. That's where growth comes from, because we're doing the things that we know we should, right? My coach
evolved thinking,
right? My coach was constantly on my ass saying, if I could only get you to do what you already know you should, you'd consider me a genius. You understand what's important without having to take an ass whooping to get there. Like,
tell that to my softball team.
Right?
I think so many of us just operate in firefighting. And
100%.
You don't get, I think we're there.
What you're saying, Jen, is in that quadrant. I think that's where adaptability is, like outlining that whole square and highlighting it. Like, that's where we're adaptable. Because, like, let's say, talking about just accessibility, right? This applies to a lot of different things, but from a design perspective, that's always been something that we account for, right? But in the terms of building a website, right, there's gray areas, there's things that you prioritize over that. Sometimes we want conversions, we want clicks, blah, 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 right? So let's just get it live. But we're getting to the point where that's not going to cut it no more. We got to adapt and change our thinking and how we approach these problems. And when they come to us, do we just say, okay, is this for later, or no? I got to start prioritizing this now, because technology is evolving to a point where they can track me down. When before, are they really going to find your business? So should you prioritize that over getting people calling you today, right? And I think that's where in websites, that's where we were living for a while. And now I think we have to learn to flip that. And it's a complete 180. And that's that adaptability in that quadrant. And that's being proactive with it.
You're dealing with that right now with branding companies.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
And Steph says it all the time. Steph says, like, I need to build a boardroom table, and I need to bring all the right people to it, and I need them to work together. because the more siloed it is, if you've got someone that's really creative and making amazing brands, that's fantastic. What is the impact on ADA? What is the impact on your design process with the website? What's the impact on compliance? What are the legal requirements? Parker, can you explain?
I want to compound intelligence.
Yeah.
Yes. And it requires us to get out of our subject matter expertise. We can no longer just say, I'm just a designer. Bullshit. You better understand.
Flattening it out.
Yeah, you got to flatten the playing field. Unfortunately, we have to become experts at like the cross-reference. Give me the branding example, Parker, because I know you guys are dealing with this when we get rebrand packages that come in, and the impact for you, the impact Seth for you, and Steph wouldn't even know the difference because she's getting a beautiful brand. And they're looking at it like, do I love this brand and the look and the design and pretty pictures and mascot and colors? Parker.
So this is definitely not a new problem, right? So I have a large background in product design, building apps and stuff prior to web and marketing. And this was always utmost priority. You're releasing apps to the App Store. They won't even, let your app get published if it wasn't meeting certain criteria. Usability was more important on apps. Their users are using them every day. But now, and we've always had that problem with how do we take what the brand and marketing team and adapt that to, our web app or our mobile applications. That's never really been a focus, like I said, in marketing and web design, right? There hasn't been that tech layer there. And now we have to have it. What that looks like is going through and building a custom palette, for example. Let's say your primary brand color is bright hot pink, which is awesome, right? But how is that going to work when we apply that to your buttons with text over it? And as small as that sounds, we could still see it. That's something that can get you hit and sued. And something as little as the text doesn't have enough contrast ratio off the button to qualify, right? Even though you could see it, it's like, yeah, it has enough contrast. No, it doesn't. When you actually measure it, it does not. And that's something that's going to get flagged by these LLMs that these law companies are using to find these. And that's something that's going to get you sued. And that's one small example, right? That goes to your fonts. That goes to not just the font choice, but the font sizing, the space between the letters, the space between, the lines of words that I'm trying to not use technical terms for everybody, space between like each line with the words, and everything. It goes into your iconography. It goes into effects, right? Like, do you put effects on the words before they load on the page? There's just so many different avenues when it comes to, you're talking about brand and these things. When a marketing company does a rebrand for, especially in this industry, in the trades, right? They're really cool, really colorful, really lively brands that have a lot to it, whether it's mascots, they might have, a whole lot of illustrations or icons, things like that. They have a big design language, and that's a lot to adapt to accessibility. It's not just your colors, not just your fonts, right? There's a whole design system that you got to adapt. And that's really what it is for us. The solution is creating a web design system that adapts their brand to meet accessibility guidelines. And there's a lot of technical details on that, but that's a new challenge because we have to prioritize that now over other things that normally you would have said, no, prioritize this for conversions or prioritize this because I'm going to get calls tomorrow. But you want to prioritize this equally now. You don't want to just say this is on the back burner. So building out the right design systems is what we're doing right now.
And Seth, from your vantage point, you guys are looking at how do agents, which are not bots, now crawl and evaluate websites, which Google has actually launched and given the roadmap to how that happens. How in alignment is the requirements from an Accessibilities Act, from the American Disabled Accessibilities Act, compared to how an agent looks at the website? Where do you see alignment or where do you see conflict? Because I see some similarities.
So there are similarities. I did see that Stephanie raised her finger, so I didn't want to miss anything from her if she had something wonderful to add. It's important to note that agent implementation from Google is a user-driven action. So that means that when a user decides to engage in that, they are specifically pointing to Google at something, which means that every single agent deployment is a sniper shot. It's not a guess. It's not like crawl budget. It's not like that we have to, well, maybe they'll find it, maybe they won't. If someone's like, I can't really see this, and then they click it, they engage it, and now Google's like, this looks like a problem to me, right? So that puts us at a potential, I wouldn't call it a risk, but it adds more scrutiny. And this is why Parker's design system theory, this is why it's so important. That's why these things have to be solved for at the top end of the funnel. So that you want as few people as possible going, does this have alt image text? Because I can't, my reader's not reading it well, right? And then all of a sudden,
alt image text is.
So if I have a disability and I can't see, on my computer I have a tool that reads code because I can't see pictures. So if I have a picture on my website that doesn't have the text of what that picture is, it doesn't describe it, and I'm visually impaired, then my audio system has to have the ability to view the image and read the description. No different than, for example, WordPress by nature creates, and Elementor combined, they create buttons all over the website, and those buttons are put in a bracket called a div, and they don't have text for someone who's blind or who whatever. So that div, that bracket, if it doesn't explain that this is a call to action that allows a consumer to click to be able to schedule an appointment, if their voice system can't see that, then an AI bot also can't read that.
So let me ask you this.
This is code sitting behind the site that is either preventing you from allowing an AI agent or someone who is deaf or blind or has an impairment or a disability. If a human has a disability, the agent has the same thing. So you're designing for both. If you meet the ADA requirements, you've effectively designed and developed, coded a website for an AI bot who wants the exact same thing. And that's where we are right now, is the convergence of both of these. But what we can't have is a branding document that's illegal out of the gate. The contrast doesn't allow us to be able to. So we either have to build a website that doesn't match the brand, or you're literally saying that I'm going to force that we match the branding guidelines, and I'm going to design and develop a website that is not fully crawlable by AI and is also not compliant with ADA requirements. And all of these. And on top of that, then don't throw a client in that's like, but I want my pretty picture and my dog, and I want all these other things that I believe are really, really, really important. And now you've got legality, AI agent, Google requirements, and clear blueprint that says what needs to happen. You have the creative design and graphics and branding people over here. And then we have client input over here. And somewhere in the middle, there's the right call.
Right.
We used to call accessibility the killer of fun. For a long time, my whole design career, it literally used to kill the fun, especially when it comes to really making cool, beautiful brands come to life on an interface, a static interface, right? Now that's not the case. Like with AI and with the tools that we have at our disposal, it is no longer the ruiner of fun. So I did want to add that in there, because paying attention to accessibility is boring. Is a boring, unfun topic, but you have to be aware, but you also have to realize it's not the end of the world. It's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing, and it actually could elevate your brand and not just shoot it down or pigeonhole it or put you in a box. So that I want to distinguish that, because people hear this and they think, oh, I have to limit my brand. I have to change my brand. In the past, that might've been a little bit true, but where we're at now, you actually have a lot more you can do with your brand if you build out a really robust design system that meets these accessibility guidelines.
If you are not pigeonholed by the content management system and the architecture and framework you're working within.
Yep.
That's huge, right? We moved from WordPress to Webflow to address crawlability and load times. We needed a reduction of code and a higher volume of content to display, and we needed better core vitals.
Yeah.
But then we got blocked with the fact that it's still a lock-in environment, and we were moving faster than their roadmap and their evolution. And it got to a point where we're like, as long as the framework, the infrastructure of the website is constraining our ability to be able to use advanced technology that exists today, we're not going to be able to execute what we want. And that's why we wound up going, we're going to build our own architecture, our own infrastructure. We're going to address all of these things that their roadmap and their blueprint and the speed in which they're able to evolve was preventing us from being able to move. Like, because now the reality is we can do anything and we can have our cake and eat it too. Like, we have the ability to build beautiful sites, utilize animations, accomplish our load time and core vitals, be able to adapt from an SEO standpoint, an agent standpoint, as well as a design standpoint. But we could not have done that if we stayed in a lock-in environment where we're restricted by their capabilities.
So I've come to the conclusion that we're just not that special, right? Like each of us in business, we think we're just geniuses and we're going to have it our way and we're so different. We're not. What we need to do is we need to link arms with geniuses and apply the playbook, right? And this is something that was continually said this weekend by Cody Sanchez at an event that I was in. Imitate, then innovate. No, imitate, then iterate, then you can innovate. And that's kind of the process that you did, right? You did WordPress like everyone else. And then you iterated that and you went to Webflow. And then you figured out it's still not fast enough and I'm good enough. I'm going to innovate, right? But you couldn't have gone directly from WordPress to Hydra without the journey and with all the learning that you went along the way. And so that's why we're talking about just start now. You're not going to have all of the right answers, but you got to get started now, because as you continue to iterate, you will get stronger and better, and your information system will change, right? It's continuous improvement.
Your assumption.
Yeah. And, you know, you say Hydra's so great, we have our cake and eat it too. You're going to find something. You're going to evolve it again. It will continue to iterate. It is the best freaking thing you've seen and you've been a part of now. But when did you stop, Jen, and say, I'm complacent?
Oh yeah, hell no. This is
right. So
this is
it's just the beginning. It's compounding results.
Ourselves.
Yeah, it's compounding. And so you have to get in the game to be able to experience the exponential change in compounding. And so stop pretending that you're so special that you can't get in the game. And that's where we are as a business right now, is we kept trying to create all of our own systems instead of adopting systems that have worked for people. There are companies that are way ahead of me. I'm going to use their systems until I get there. I'll iterate along the way and then I'll innovate, right? But I have no business innovating right now when there's a roadmap, a proven roadmap ahead of me.
That's very, very fair. That's very, very fair.
I love what you just said. That same principle applies to your career. That applied to how I learned what I do today. I've always lived that exact order.
I've been in my own way for too long, thinking I was special. Like, get out of my freaking way. I've got some special traits. Okay, I won't throw all of that out, but I need to be better about taking that playbook and going fast. And so, if you guys have a playbook for brand, my brand is not so special that it trumps the proven playbook.
Parker, she just gave you free reign.
I'm just getting light bulbs going off for other things.
I just need it to work, right?
Yep.
And Jen's going to be part of that. Jen's like, well, do you want it to be pretty or do you want it to be productive? Right? I need it to work. And then I want to iterate it to be pretty, right? We can get there. And that's what happened with Webflow. And you guys learned a lot from that experience. And I'm just freaking waiting to get into Hydra. But we learned along the way what's important to go there.
Has Google or Apple's brand evolved over time?
Oh,
Slightly.
Yeah. Their design system has evolved over. So if you look into what they've been, every OS, their design system expands and expands and refines and refines and refines. But what they've always had, and they've always kind of been like the North Star, like they set the tone for what this all is really in terms of branding and design system, user interface design, product design. Like Steve Jobs and the original app, that largely inspired so much of what goes today. But in order to evolve, they had to have that foundation, and they've always had that foundation.
I think that there's just so much strength in the control from the experts. And I'm asking all of you to take that control back and stop letting your customers really like wag the tail, wag the dog. Or as Crystal says, like the inmates run the asylum, right? Like, wow.
I like that.
Just call all of our clients inmates.
Look, that like there's a reason that we're doing business with you. But if you guys keep getting so distracted because you're worried about every $3 million business that thinks they're freaking special, then you're hurting everybody else. And I would say the same. I'm working very closely at ServiceTitan. I'm working with a lot of their product people. I'm like, stop telling us what's possible and tell us what to do.
We have these same conversations a lot recently within the design team. That's totally the shift. I agree. That's the mental shift that needs to happen across the board for everybody, especially in this space. If we're going to
go fast, we got to get real tight, real agile, and we got to go.
Mm-hmm. So I have 1,000 light bulbs coming off, so we're going to have some.
It's taking me a year to get here.
I'm down for it. You know, I love you.
It's taking me a year to get here because, you know, a year ago I thought I was just so freaking special. I knew what I needed everywhere. But the bigger and smarter I'm getting, the more I'm realizing, know my zone, direct that. I am not a subject matter expert.
You are learning every day. Your language is changing every single day. Your knowledge, your communication, your level of knowledge on every single acronym is literally changing.
Well, thanks, Jen.
You're going to need a translator soon, Steph.
My strength is orchestration. I'm the facilitator. I think that a lot of other business owners are going to relate to that. It's our job to build that table and to orchestrate that table, right? But Parker, if you tell me that my design needs to change in order to go fast, instead of fighting you about it, which is going to take time and energy, right? There's some push, there's some tension that goes back and forth. It's what makes us better, right? Iron sharpens iron. But if you take that same iron and you keep grinding, what happens to it?
Starts to break down.
It's freaking dust.
Yeah.
I don't want to be dust. I just want to be sharp.
So there's, I think this is a powerful conversation. I'm hoping everybody that's with us is finding the nuggets that you can use to self-assess, not externally assess, but self-assess, because that's the first place to start. We spend a lot of time trying to figure out what's wrong with everyone else. Like the best place to start is ourselves. I will say that. I wake up every day and try and figure out how the hell can I be better, think better, play better, participate better, engage better, think more strategically. And if I continue to do that and you build a culture around that, that is, I will definitely say where our team has evolved, going from a 300 plus person company to a 50. I think we're at 48 or something. I don't know the numbers right now, but 40 something person company. I see it in our team, like everybody individually trying to learn, figure out how they can be better, figure out how they can do something different, come up with their own ideas, more collaborative, share. Which I think is really, really important. I also think that it's important, like the working relationship and the table matters. If you have a mindset of, I hired you, you're the expert, you go do that, that's great. And you can do that. And hopefully you pick the best experts and you can let them run without you. If you show up to the table with more than an appetite and you bring some food to the table, you're going to get better results. 100%. Right? This is where
you're definitely right about it being our responsibility to inspect what we expect.
That and contribute meaningfully, meaning that a lot of times we have what's important in our head and we're coming to the table saying, this is my list of the things that are important. I'm just use a web project, for example. These are the things that are important to me. Right now, we're at a point where it would be better to show up to the table and say, what should be important to me and how can I contribute? That's going to have the most meaningful impact.
Onboarding experience is critical.
Yeah, that and more than onboarding, but for the life of your relationship with whatever partners that you have. Like I sit down with my financial planner, my CPA, my law team, and my bookkeeping team, and I show up to the table and say, where do you want me to focus? What questions should I be asking that I have not asked yet? How can I provide the greatest value? Right now, if you were to do that with Seth, like Seth's going to say, here's the things that where you can help us get better results by, for example, allowing us to publish. Our AI now has the ability to crawl and evaluate your reviews, be able to create a story about a transaction. If you say that story is not perfect and you're not willing to provide the story for us to add to the content to make it relative to the consumer and provide something that's of unique value, and we're focused on perfection, then it doesn't work, right? If we can get halfway there, right? The story doesn't have to be perfect. What we need is to be able to provide contextual information on every single page that is different than AC repair near me. And if we can get our AI, because we can't get the information from our clients, if we can get the AI to be able to read your AC repair reviews and be able to make up a story and to include that textually in the content, and that is the unique element that you have on your page that's different from everybody else, then you leveled up. Is it perfect? No. Is it factual? It's relative.
Don't let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Say that again. Wait,
it's actually not a quote I need to be known for, but they say don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. Of course, you want like it to feel pretty truthful. So don't go ahead and put that all over my LinkedIn, please.
It is a quote from Mark Twain.
That's a note to the AI because we don't have any humans that are going to edit this. It's possible this shows up on LinkedIn. Just put that for the record right now.
Yeah, don't let perfect be the enemy of good.
I like that.
I would also say don't let perfect be the enemy of speed. And right now you need speed, right? Right now we need to be fast. And that means that we've got to figure out how to get as close to what we need as we can with as limited cost and time associated with it, because this industry is a group of small businesses with small budgets and big dreams.
But I think understanding the why is so powerful. And that's why, Jen, even when we start conversations about AI, you want to make sure that the contractors have a basic foundation of how it works. And I would say the same, Seth, as you're going about it. If you give me the why, then I understand the story. But without that context, I want it to be right.
Right. That is a freaking huge point right now. The term AI is used so haphazardly.
Broadly, yeah.
So broadly.
Yeah, it is.
I'm watching the content online. I have conversations constantly, and somebody will say, well, AI is inaccurate, or I'm producing my content with AI. Like AI as in you're going to ChatGPT and writing content you're putting on your website. Don't freaking do that. Like AI is an agentic network of hundreds of agents that are able to hit 1,000 data points and 2,000 different evaluations of metadata and other websites and other information to identify contextual relevance, authority, context, and to be able to make decisions to be able to produce content. That's a level up. Autonomous agents that can do that at 100 times the speed with data that's been collected over many, many, many years, a data lake, and direct access to your analytics and direct access to your GA4 account. That's freaking golden. So those are all three AI. One is do not do that. You should not be using ChatGPT with your little editing team to be able to go write content and do keyword research and all. Don't do that, right?
Well,
the next, like these are three different versions.
Start somewhere and then learn from that.
Asking.
Start with asking, because if you start somewhere, you're going to wind up getting those pages de-indexed. And then if you
learn something, right?
Well, no, don't. No.
Seth's like, don't do that. Don't do that.
We need to go through experts first. I just got off a call with a franchise that did exactly that. Their gorgeous marketing team is using SQL injection in order to change geo targets and locations. Seth and I just went through this. They are utilizing ChatGPT and their editing team to do keyword research and write content. They are dynamically injecting content in there. not only was their website has hundreds of pages being de-indexed week over week over week, that now has also hit their 300 franchisees Google business profiles, which have now all moved out of the 3-pack, every single one of them, which has now also caused the domino effect on now their LSAs aren't performing. This is one team of people trying to learn the hard way, sitting in their office, doing dumb shit, excuse my French.
They failed at the wrong level.
Right. And this impacted, now we have 300 companies, small businesses who are all trying to figure out what the hell, one catalyst change, one dumb move right now. That's why I put together. And if you go to AI tools for the trades, click on, I think, Reese articles and go to 5 pillars. We have to understand that these lessons, they are too hard right now to be learning the dumb way. We should have been learning 4 years ago when ChatGPT launched. That was your learning time. You're not learning right now. If you're just getting in and trying to figure out AI right now as a marketing agency or a marketing team or a marketer, you're up shit creek. Because this learning should have been taking place over the last 3 years before Google has autonomous agents that can tag your ass and put you in the jailhouse and then impact everything else, right? If your website gets de-indexed, your Google business profile will be impacted. If your GBP is impacted, your LSA is going to stop performing. Where are you going to get calls from, right? And this is, we can keep going down paid ads and everything else, but everything is interconnected right now. These pillars have to be solid. So you cannot play around with people's shit right now. Excuse my French. You can't. Seth, I'll leave it to you because I'm getting a little excitable.
It's all right. Anytime you make an SEO decision, you need to ask yourself 2 things. Number 1, what's the benefit? Number 2, if we're wrong, what's the cost? Anytime you're going to make a major, and not even any type of a SEO decision of potential consequence, you need to ask yourself, what do we stand to benefit? What's the cost if we're wrong?
And I'm going to leave this in one thing, stakeholders, right? I know a lot of companies are working with an account manager and don't have access to the technical resources making these decisions. Right now, Seth and Parker, have you guys ever had to work more closely from an operations, development, design, content, SEO, AEO, GEO? What's the relationship required? Have you guys ever spent this much time together before? Like, how critical is that right now compared to before we could work a little bit more siloed? What are your thoughts?
Right now, across like our company, all minds have to see the vision in order to contribute equally and effectively. And if we don't, then one limb of the body is moving without the rhythm of the rest, right? To pull from Paul's Ephesians, if we're going to do that. So we have to. I've never worked more closely with the design, with creative designer, the developers, the technical. I mean, I've always worked with the technical SEO team, but the account management portion of it all has to be interlocked together, and everyone has to see the vision of the whole thing, and so that we are all moving in the same direction, or everything becomes disjointed. It's like sticking your hand in between the Newton's cradle, right? The ball goes back and forth. But if you find that rhythm and everyone's working in time with each other, you have a perfect syncopation that allows you to achieve effective results. Try not doing that and see how well that works for you.
I just want a perfect syncopation.
Right. That's what we're all looking for.
Yes.
Right.
Parker, just to wrap this up, what are your thoughts as far as the connected tissue between all of these? I know you guys are spending a lot of time with our account managers, and they're having to level up drastically to understand things that were never in their wheelhouse. They've never written a line of code. They had never written a line of code. Like, what's happened to account managers, project managers, and so forth in our organization? How have we had to rise the tides jointly?
Well, yeah, on that, and along with what Seth's saying, like in terms of design, you're typically always collaborating across the organization, but not in the sense of all together, right? We've always been siloed conversation, hitting different touch points. Now everyone needs to be at the same spot from beginning to end, highly collaborative. And also on what you were saying, Jen, leveling up. Like the AMs now, like we're talking about, they're able to get in and actually prompt and actually build and actually look at how they can make changes on the websites, things like that. Not that that's what we want to do, but what I'm saying is you have to level up your expertise and to come to the table. Like Seth was saying, you don't want to be that limb that's moving at the wrong rhythm because you didn't level up the expertise or come with the ability to have the open mind to learn it. So I think it's kind of just resetting who you think you are and what you know, and coming to the table hungry with some food on the plate, like you were saying, with something to contribute, but also ready to learn and ready to work together. I think that's something that I've learned the most. And like this conversation is a perfect example. All four of us, we're all experts in different things, and we're all, you know, highly intelligent and working hard on these different things daily, but we're able to come together and have this conversation and bring the different pieces and different perspectives, but it's all highly unified and we're all learning the same things. Like I'm learning a ton of SEO, more than I ever have in design, thanks to Seth and thanks to all the collaboration that we've had to do. And that's only leveling up our team in where we're going with all of this vibing. And what I will say is, you know, vibing is probably going to go away one day. We're looking at, like, the way I like to say, don't ask where to add AI. Like, where's the human judgment? And that's where the AI's got to live at. And that's what I'm learning as we're collaborating with people. It's no longer in these siloed collaborations. It's across the board. So we're identifying where that human judgment is and optimizing there together.
We now have designers, project managers, account managers, senior managers, and executives that now know how to code.
Yeah.
That now know how to pull a repo, that now know how to log into GitHub, let alone what the hell GitHub is. Like, and I think that same thing is happening even in the contractor space. In all, it doesn't even matter if it's contractors or digital agencies or whatever. Like, we all have to rise these tides together. We're all going to have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. We're all going to have to learn new acronyms, new skills, new tools, new everything. So, and we're going to have to learn. There's no one that I think is exempt from learning right now. Like, exempt equals I got laid off.
You want to be an orchestrator like you, Steph. I think that's one of the best skills you can have and develop if you don't feel strong in that, as you know, going in where technology and everything's leading to, right? We're all kind of converging and flattening out and converging into the same spots. If you could orchestrate and you have that ability to see the picture and move things together and understand and adapt, because as an orchestrator, you have to be highly adaptable. You're going to be very successful. And this is going to be a lot easier to you than if you don't have that orchestration skill, because like we're going to be orchestrating different layers, different platforms, different products, different things for different businesses, for internal. There's so many layers to it that you have to be able to move these things between the layers. And that's that orchestration. And the AI, right? That's going to augment that human judgment for you, but who's orchestrating the AI? And that's where you want to focus your attention and learning, I think.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Now that everybody has an enormous headache and probably needs a nap versus going back to work, you guys, for everybody that showed up today, first off, kudos to you, man. I know these conversations are not easy to listen. It's kind of like you show up to this room and there's a whole bunch of a big whiteboard with a bunch of circles and they're not connecting. But the fact that you guys are showing up to these meetings and you guys are probably ChatGPTing acronyms and every author that Seth has mentioned throughout the entire thing, right? The fact that you're here and learning and digging in, even when it doesn't feel comfortable. Like Steph is the best example of it. I feel like in the beginning, she's like, shut the hell up, Jen. No one understood what the hell came out of your mouth. And now she's like listening. And now I see her regurgitating it and I see her using it and applying different logic. She's the best example of forcing herself into an environment that's uncomfortable. And over time, not only is it becoming more comfortable, but she's getting hired and paid to get on stages to talk about her journey in this. And I just massive kudos to you. None of this is easy. And I am wildly freaking proud of who you are becoming every single day and what you are learning and sharing. And you don't have to know everything. And if you give it a shot and you jack it up in the middle, if anyone says a word, watch, don't let them be near me because it is not easy to evolve at the rate, and surround yourself by the people you are. And I have mad respect for you stepping into the lion's den. And no one should ever say anything other than congratulations. And I want to learn from you, and I want to do the same thing, and I want to level up, because it's really easy to say, I don't understand anything that they just said, and to call that the day and move on with your normal life. And you're not doing that. And I seriously appreciate that. You deserve massive kudos. You're living in a world where I am with my developers. I don't understand a freaking shit stuff that comes out of their mouth. And I feel like this big.
That's not true. You do.
You do now.
And it's the same. Like, thank you. I appreciate it.
Even
we're leveling each other up constantly.
Fast, right? Yes.
We're leveling each other up constantly. I hear a lot of the things, my philosophies come out of you also, right? And that's the power of network. And I think that we're really seeing that right now in the world, how important your network is and how important that skill set is. And, thank you, Parker, for acknowledging the importance of orchestration. And maybe that is a skill set that I need to identify as one of my strong suits. And I think that it's just critical right now. It's the only way to absorb as much as you possibly can.
Oh my goodness. You guys, we absolutely love everyone. I appreciate all of you guys for jumping in with no agenda, no preparation. We gave everybody 5 minutes notice. Hey, want to jump on a podcast today and talk about the boardroom? And they're like, sure, got it. Let's go. So you guys, thank you so much for joining. Please share, send this out to whoever you think would be helpful. We really appreciate your time today. And if there's any topics of conversation, if you don't understand something, if you want us to bring a specific expert on and you want us to deep dive into something that's really, top of mind for you or important, please don't hesitate. We're here to serve. So just reach out, let us know. Other than that, everybody have a very, very powerful and effective day. I hope you enjoy your week. Thanks, you guys.
Great. Thank you, everybody.